Hey, let's do a video on a 1993 40 horsepower Evinrude 2-stroke. Okay, 40 horsepower Evinrude. It says VRO. Well, there is a VRO, but it's been deleted, so they were mixing their gas. Here it is. Backstory on it. Guy brought it to me, said it's been sitting for a couple years at least. Who knows how long. It's a tiller, and it's got a shift right here, forward, neutral, reverse. It's a tiller. There's a tiller handle. I messed with this a little bit yesterday. Kind of got the carbs opening and closing where they were supposed to, but it's still tight right here, even though I can move it. Watch, I move it, now I can kind of turn it. Really needs you can turn it, but it's really hard. I sprayed it down some, but I think it's up here in the tiller handle, so I'm gonna have to investigate that guy and fix the tiller handle. It's just too tight. It'll move, but that's all it'll move. So maybe the cable, it's possible. And it is just a cable, but maybe the way they got it routed, you know, or maybe it's just not moving very good. But I think it's up in the tiller handle. Anyway, back to the story on it. It says it's been sitting for a couple years. Doesn't really know, you know, he's just like, I'm gonna have somebody do it. First thing I did was just see if it would even turn over, so I could, you know, so I put a remote switch on it. And the remote switch box I made, I don't know, I may have to revisit this, but right here, I need something else to clamp it down with. I'm gonna have to find something that's that diameter, like a couple of I don't know, washers to make this, because I want to keep adapting this, have other wires come out. Anyway, it's whenever I'm bored sometime, but I got it where it'll turn over. See, it turns over. So then I did a compression test, 125 for the top cylinder and 128 on the bottom cylinder. So I mean, it'll fire, this thing will run. All right, so we have the VRO. Let's see if I can get this out of the way for a second. We got a VRO, okay. It's up there up front. Here's our VRO. So they're just using the fuel pump in that. And then on the other side, they got an enricher valve. Oh, we got pressure. So we could check our pressure coming out of that to make sure that's enriching properly. I know he's got good compression. This motor will run. So what was my next step? Well, see if I can get it to fire. Number one, spark plug on this guy. Got my timing light. All I'm looking for is to see if that light flashes. Okay, this must be our ground wire. There's a start-stop switch. And so when it's stopped, I guess it's sending the ground up. And anyway, that's stopping it from fire. So if I unplug this guy, it's a black yellow wire. It's a black yellow wire, right? It's in that connector. When I turn this over, we should see that light. So I got spark. That's good. That's our next test. I know it's going to need a water pump because it's been sitting for a while. I know it's going to need new spark plugs. Check our fuel system, see if we can get it running. I know it needs a new start-stop switch. That's it right there, right? Okay, well, the rubber on it is just hard as a rock. You know, I'll put a trash can underneath it, put some water in it, put some new plugs, gas, and see if I can get it to fire and run. and check the timing at the same time, or I might check the timing now. Yeah, anyway, I got something I can do. You know, it's fast, I'll just do it because I already got it set up. But yeah, check the timing and then throw the plugs in it and fuel. So today I'll go grab some fuel because I'm going to put it in his tank. And I'm going to check out his tank and make sure it's pressurizing. Look at all my fuel lines. And go from there. So I got to go look up the spark plug, because who knows if they have the right spark plugs in it or not. Who knows if they have the same, you know, the correct ones, I should say. I'm just spitting stuff out, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna look that up and just make sure I got that right, and put some new plugs in it because they're cheap. I mean, the most you're gonna pay is $4 a piece. So just go get them. The last ones I got, I think, were $2.99 for 4 of them. You know, so it was like $12 for the whole thing. So it's an easy thing just to see if you can get it fired. I mean, here's the plugs that were in it. NGK, BPH, 8H. I'm sorry, it's a mouthful. BP8H, and they got dash in. I checked these, and one of them, the resistance value was pretty good. The other one, the resistance value was, I mean, they both had continuity, but one of them, the resistance value wasn't as good as the other one. So toss those, go get new ones is what I say, because then you can not have, that could cause you a lot of problems. Anyway, it just caused you some time, because you're like, ah, crap, I spent a half an hour, I could just thrown spark plugs in it. So anyway, it's just my little spiel. I'm up in the boat now, so I'm checking the base timing. Timing pointer is right there in the middle, so you know, you gotta get up here. So anyway, I've checked the timing already, and the base timing's hitting right on 19 degrees. Way you do that, remember, is you go wide open throttle with that, and that'll get your base timing, or your wide open throttle timing. And then we want our base timing, idle timing, and that's going to be, in the book it's saying 1 to 4 degrees after top dead center. So I checked that, and it's hitting at about 4, which I'm gonna back it out a little, because I adjusted the linkage to the carburetors to make sure they were opening and closing when they're supposed to. And that wide open throttle, the butterflies are wide open, because they weren't. So that's kind of important. And anyway, to do that, so on this timing you got 2 screws, right? So this one is going to be your base timing, and then this one is going to be wide open throttle timing. Okay, so my wide open throttle right now is right. That one's hitting at 19 degrees. So this one, when we're going back to basically start, this really needs to come in. We may still have a linkage. I'm gonna try to do this, even though it's this cable lever is giving me fits, because it will go back there. I don't know why it's not. So we're pretty far off. I mean, it's, you don't have to worry about kicking off, because spark plugs are out. I had to give it a good 3 or 4 turns, and it did loosen up a little bit. So let's see what happens. If I can see it. So it's closer, but it needs to go more. You know, I could bring this in a hair or 2, but I'll have to check my butterflies to make sure they're opening right. This is pretty far over here. I don't know if you can see that, but I think that's probably what our problem is that this linkage right here. So that just turns in and adjusts the cable. the cable's probably out of adjustment. In order to get that idle back further, we'll have to come in, which pushes this out. So which way will that then move it, you know? Because if we're in all the way, right? So it seems to me like if it's in, see how that pushes it out? This has got to push it in. So to come in, we need to come this way a little bit. So let me do that real quick and get back to you.
Are you